In terms of the inspiration for Foundervine, so I always talk about what it was like growing up in a part of London where there was so much ambition, but not necessarily as much opportunity to utilize that ambition in a helpful way. And I saw lots of young people around me kind of fall into things that didn't make the most of who they are and what they could do. And so I was always interested in business and building communities in some way. And I thought that would look like a career in politics for me. And it was only after sort of working in the business sector that I realized that there was so much more we could do in helping people start businesses and start social enterprises and really be at the forefront of all of the changes we were seeing in our economy. And that's kind of where Foundervine came in, providing an opportunity for people who have great ideas to build those ideas with the support of a ready-made community of mentors, advisors, and people who can introduce them to other people and just help them grow ideas that way.
And so can you tell us a bit more about the different programs that you run? I know that one of the most popular is Startup 54, for example.
Yes, so we run sort of 4 main types of programs. They're all designed for different stages in a future founder's journey. So we start with our Entrepreneur in a Day programs, where we go into schools and universities and get young people thinking about enterprise and digital skills. Then we have the Startup 54 program, which is designed for idea stage entrepreneurs who are actually serious about sort of taking those ideas further in just a kind of short, sharp intervention. And then we have our pre-accelerator programs, which are designed for early stage ideas who need a bit more support in order to sort of generate revenue and take the first steps into launching the product. And then we have our accelerator programs, which are designed for more established entrepreneurs who are looking to raise their first round in funding, expand their client base, etc.
So you provide a kind of full suite of things, don't you, in terms of aspirational entrepreneurs? It can be anyone, without an idea, or right through, as you were just saying, to those ones that are willing and ready to scale up a bit more.
Absolutely. And we recognized from the very beginning that if we were going to make the impact that we wanted and really build on that mission of changing the face of entrepreneurship, then we couldn't just work with existing entrepreneurs who had already done all of the hard work in order to get there. But we needed to think about the pipeline as well, and actually supporting more people to enter the digital tech industry, supporting more people to think about self-employment as an option as well.
It's only been going a couple of years, but you've had such rapid growth. What's been the proudest sort of moment that you've had so far along the way?
I think for me, one of the proudest moments that will stay with me for the rest of my life was when I presented Foundervine to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at Buckingham Palace earlier this year, actually a week before lockdown. So glad it was able to happen. That's definitely a real standout moment for me.
Absolutely. Oh, and what did they say to you during that?
They were brilliant. We had quite a long conversation about the importance of helping more women into enterprise, to expanding opportunities for young people globally, and I shared a bit more about my background and kind of what guided me, and they were really receptive and ended up kind of sharing a bit more about their story and what they're up to at the moment. And it's just genuinely quite a lovely opportunity to meet two genuinely quite lovely people.
Yeah, it must have been an incredible experience. I'm really curious to understand where you think, as a sort of leading entrepreneur in the UK, about where the future jobs are going to be coming from, because we live in such a changing world at the moment. There's so much information out there that it can be so difficult to kind of process it all and so forth. Where do you, in the next 3 to 5 years, see the economy moving, and what skills will be required for the future?
When it comes to jobs at the moment, it's such a fascinating time. We've kind of seen the pandemic lead to a string of new innovations designed to help us cope more with remote working and cope more in kind of digital environments where we're by ourselves more than we ever have been before. And we're also seeing an increased consciousness around race as a result of Black Lives Matter and around other forms of diversity. That means that we are kind of moving towards, at least in the digital sector, a kind of space in which I hope we're going to have much more inclusive innovation and also slightly different thinking when it comes to how we work, what our workplaces look like, how we communicate with each other, all of those kinds of things. In terms of the skills that we need for that, now more than ever, where young people are really, really worried about what getting a job after university looks like, about what actually going to university looks like at the moment. We need to be investing in platforms that allow young people to build digital skills, understand, how they can contribute to innovation, how they can engage with AI and machine learning and really be part of the innovation that we're seeing in our communities at the moment. And a big part of my work is speaking to founders, meeting founders of various tech startups. And we have a diversity problem, and we have a problem that stems right from the very beginning of our education system, which doesn't prioritize practical learning and non-theory based learning. And there's a lot more work that I think needs to be done there.
That's so interesting, the points that you make there. I mean, the diversity issue is so important and so many different aspects of diversity as well, because I think we can all be rest assured that at the moment, the UK isn't making the full use of all of the talent that it has. It was going to need to do that before the pandemic anyway, but is so crucial now. And you talk about the practical sort of skills as well. And perhaps you could just talk us through a bit more about sort of the Foundervine program, the different aspects of it, and what you actually sort of practically teach people as well. Because one of the things that this show looks at is how we can kind of future-proof the skills that people require. And whilst your mission is about changing the face of global entrepreneurship, there's so much more you've talked about in terms of upskilling people in the digital world. And people can do the courses and they don't necessarily have to turn out to be an entrepreneur at the end of it, but they can gain some skills.
Yeah, so for me, the future of education is not just around providing young people with the skills that they've been kind of learning so far. And kind of, if you look at a curriculum that I don't know if it's necessarily in line with the jobs of the future. And so our programs are very much about giving young people a much more immersive experience. And that means linking them in with inspirational role models who come from a wide range of communities that, can mentor them and coach them and help them actually kind of learn about building new products and starting new projects. A huge part of our work, in addition to training, is actually providing opportunities to build confidence as well and understand how to network and to meet employers. All of our programs take place, at least when they were offline, all of them took place in corporate offices, for example, and that's very intentional. It's bringing in young people who are at the stage of thinking about their careers into the offices of companies who are genuinely committed to providing those opportunities. And so we balance a sort of technical training with opportunities to meet people who can help you grow, the opportunity to kind of build a very practical knowledge of the skills that you need for a very shifting economy, and to also meet prospective employers as well.
Could you talk us through a couple of the mentors that you have that come in on the program and help dispense that advice?
Absolutely. So we have a group of professionals that we call the Vine Fellows, and they are business professionals across investment, across public sector, private sector, who all commit to giving their time to helping young people grow in different ways. And if I had to pick sort of two of them who immediately come to mind, one of them is Czech Warner, who is the co-founder of Diversity VC and the co-founder of Ada Ventures, which is a venture capital firm that's raised 30 million and counting to invest in diverse founders. And Czech speaks very openly about the need not just to encourage more diverse founders, but to encourage more diverse investment professionals to invest in those founders. So it's fantastic having her as part of the platform. We also have people like Gabby Kahane, who is founder of an organization called Multiple, and he is also an angel investor and gives a lot of time to coaching our founders across our programs. And it's exposure to people like Czech and Gabby that really make the difference for our founders, people who would otherwise be quite difficult to access, and where we're able to combine practical training and insights and knowledge and very interactive elements with meeting people like that and getting feedback from people in these roles. I think that's where the magic really happens.